Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So today I was just out here cutting down a couple of trees and I was cutting those up. And since I was out here, I thought maybe I would just go over the equipment that I use to cut up trees, my firewood cutting kit basically. And this is just the normal stuff that I carry with me when I go out and cut up firewood or cut up a tree or cut down a tree. So let's go ahead, we'll get started with the big stuff. This is probably, I hate to say it, this is probably my favorite chainsaw. This is a Husqvarna 350. I don't think they make it anymore. I've had this since 2008. So I've had it for 15 years, still running strong. 18-inch bar, does a good job as long as it's sharp. Now the other chainsaw, I got this a couple years ago. This is a Stihl. This is a Stihl 391. This is a 25-inch bar on this. I went ahead and I got this one with the bigger bar just for some of those bigger trees that I cut down. Now this is a beast. When this thing is full of gas and oil, it'll wear you out pretty quick. So I try not to have to cut with this too much. Other than that, I do take an axe with me to hit wedges into a tree. And this is just, I don't have a lot of choice of axes, right? So this is just the Fisker's splitting axe. And to be honest with you, I really do like these Fisker axes. I've got a smaller splitting axe. I think it's like 17 inches. I use that to cut up kindling. I even take the firewood that we have at the house and I can split that firewood with it and cut it up into smaller pieces and kindling as well. And this one right here does a really good job. This is what I used before I had the log splitter. But I use this when I'm out in the field to pound in wedges into a tree to try to get them to fall a different direction. So the majority of my wood cutting kit is in this milk crate. I just put a piece of plywood in the bottom of it so nothing falls through. And this was actually inspired by Eric over at Life in the Farmland. He did a video several years ago showing what he used to cut firewood. And he had his in a milk crate, and I remembered that. I found this milk crate on the property, and I pretty much imitated the same thing. So it's been several years since I watched his video, so I don't remember exactly what he had in his kit, but we'll go through mine. And at the end, at the end of the video or through the video, you guys can make comments on what you guys have in your kit, because I'm sure everybody carries different things, and we can read through the comments, and maybe we can learn from each other as well, maybe learn something fairly handy. So the first thing I have here on top is going to be my safety gear. Of course, I've got the Husqvarna helmet, and this has worked fairly good for me, but I'm starting to have trouble with it. Okay, so this ear muff on this side, it actually pops out like all the time. Of course, there it went. I didn't think it was going to do it on video, but it pops out all the time. I bet today when I was cutting that tree down, I probably had to pop this back in there 8, 9, 10 times today. I mean, very frustrating. So I may get a new set of like ear muffs. That is a part of the face shield. That's all kind of one unit. Or I may just upgrade the whole helmet, and I may try a Stihl brand helmet instead. But I've had this for several years. It's worked well, but now it's finally getting kind of aggravating. I've got my chainsaw chaps. So these are for safety as well. For people that don't know it, these are supposed to actually stop a chainsaw from cutting through this material and into your leg. And I've seen videos where they prove it out. And this is actually a cheaper set. It is UL listed, so I assume that it has been tested by Underwriters Laboratory. I actually got the chainsaw into these the other day. So I'm going to try to show this, but you see right there where it's frayed, right? Well, inside of here there is a white material, almost reminds me of what's in a pillow, like some kind of stuffing. Well, that white material is supposed to pull into your chainsaw, and where your sprocket is, it's supposed to get stringy and wrap around that sprocket and actually jam it up and stop the chain from turning. So that's how these are supposed to work. They're going to pull that material into your chainsaw and then lock up the sprocket, hopefully before it ever gets through these and into your leg. But since I cut into these, I thought about getting a new set. Honestly, I don't like orange. I don't know about you guys. I don't like sticking out like a sore thumb. And they make these in like black and like dark navy, camo. They make them in different colors. That's not, I guess, stick out as bad, as not as noticeable. So I was thinking about getting a new set. I thought about throwing these and doing a test on them, see if I could cut through them with the chainsaw and get into, you know, whatever's underneath them or whatever, if this will actually stop it. I thought I might end up doing that. If I end up buying a new set, I may just go ahead and cut these up. But those are my two safety things. I typically don't take safety glasses with me. I probably should. I pretty much rely on this mask here to get keep stuff out of my eyes. Now, if your chainsaw is dull, you got a bunch of dust. The dust is going to go through that mask and you can get it into your eyes. That's normally only a problem if you're cutting overhead. You definitely probably need safety glasses then, but I probably should wear them. I don't bring them with me. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the milk crate. I've got several things in here. Of course, I've got 1 gallon of mixed gasoline. I've got the gallon of the bar chain oil for your chainsaw. And then the other thing I have, and people have asked me about this several times, I always carry this with me. This is my stump killer. This is Tordon RTU. And it's a herbicide or whatever. But anyway, you put that in the outer layer of the tree stump right after you cut it. You know, you need to do it within like 15 minutes or 10 minutes of cutting it. And you know, that layer that's alive on the outside, you spray that on there. That'll soak into the roots and it'll make sure the stump stays dead and it doesn't grow back, right? So you don't get a bunch of little trees growing off the stump or the roots. So this is the stump killer that I bring with me. So this here is my wood cutter's helper. I've had this for several years. It's a little fiberglass rod with a magnet on the end. And I've showed this before several times as well. But you magnetize this to your chainsaw and then you adjust that. You can actually adjust this one. You can slide this disc, and then this is how much you can mark basically where you cut off your firewood, right? So I've got this set at 18 inches. I cut 18-inch firewood, but you can take this and pop it on and off as you're working. It will fall off on its own. Sometimes you'll hit it on something and it'll knock it off. But this is fairly small and with a fairly small fiberglass on it. And so this is, I really do like this one because it can tuck in here, you know, behind the dogs, you know, your little spikes on here and stay out of the way. I've tried several different ways to try to cut the same length firewood. So far, this is my favorite. All right. So I have two 2-in-1 chainsaw sharpeners. You know, they've got the round file and they have the flat file so that it sharpens the tooth and it takes down the rakers, which is your depth gauge, kind of how deep you cut with each tooth. So it sharpens two things, or it files down the raker and it sharpens the tooth. Now I have two of these because my chains are actually a different size file. So this one is for the Husqvarna and this one is for the steel. All right, so I have both of my scrinches. I think they call them scrinches. These are the wrenches that come with your chainsaw. Now, why do I carry both? They're actually both the same size nuts, but the difference between these two is that the very tip of this, right here, this is actually the exact width of where your chain is in your bar. So you can take your chain off and you can use this to clean the bar out. So this is the exact width of that slot in the bar for the Husqvarna, and this one is the exact width for the bar, or the slot in the bar of the steel. So that's why I have both of these, because I can clean out the bar with each chainsaw. So that's why I carry both. So the other thing I carry is wedges, plastic wedges. You know, that's kind of the thing you got to have. These are sacrificial, right? So you can pound them into a tree while you're still cutting with the chainsaw. You may swing your chainsaw around and you may cut into it, kind of like this one is. You know, it's kind of missing some end on there, and it won't dull your chainsaw. And so you can accidentally hit them with the chainsaw and not have to worry about tearing anything up. So yeah, you will end up, you know, taking the ends off a few of these. And I got 5 here, different widths, and that has came in handy. Sometimes you want to stack these, okay? So if you get a tree that's really hard to fall over, you know, sometimes you're stacking 2 of these on top of each other to make it a taller wedge. And I can do the same thing with these bigger wedges. I can stack them on top of each other if I wanted. So there's several different brands here. Obviously, I think about 3 or 4 different brands. But yes, I carry several wedges with me. And then the last thing I carry is a stump vise. That's what this is right here. This is a stump vise. You pound that into a stump or a cut off piece of wood, and then you can clamp your saw in there, right? So you take your axe, pound it in the stump, and then you can clamp the bar, slide the bar in there, and then clamp it in so that you can work on your chainsaw in the field. And instead of going back to the barn and putting it in a real vise, at least this gives you some way to hold it in the field for you so that you can use both hands. So that's pretty much everything that I carry in my kit. You can see the bottom of the crate. I did end up putting a piece of plywood in the bottom, right? And that's actually in there very tight. It's kind of a press fit. It doesn't come out. It's not glued in there, it's just press fit in there. And then that allows me mostly for this not to fall through the bottom, or for the handles of the scrinches not to fall through the bottom. But that there is what I carry pretty much every time I go out to cut firewood. I'll grab the 2 chainsaws, the axe, and then I grab this milk crate. And usually my safety gear is on top of it. So that is the normal stuff I carry. Now, if I'm doing some really tough stuff, of course I do have additional things, right? I've got chain to help pull on trees, rope. I've got 2 come-alongs that I use sometimes to pull a tree over. So there's other things that I do have, but those are the stuff you don't want to have to use, right? That's the stuff that you only use if you have to, or if you're in a bad situation. But this pretty much gets me 95% of the time. So like I said, if you guys end up using something else, or you carry something else with you, you might put that in the comments below so we can all learn from that. And you never know, I might end up finding something new that I want to go out and buy. But this video was inspired by Eric over at Life in the Farmland. He made a very similar video to this. And he was actually one of the people that kind of inspired me. He hasn't made videos in a long time. I think he ended up getting kidney disease, had to have a transplant, and he hasn't made any videos since then. But he made really good YouTube videos, and I would watch his videos and it would inspire me to do better, you know, that I want to be able to make videos like that. So he was definitely an inspiration to me wanting to do better quality videos, that's for sure. But I think that's going to be it for today's video. I just wanted to do a quick video on the stuff that I carry. Since I had it all out today, I just thought I'd do a quick video on it. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Well, there's one other thing I forgot. Leather gloves. I had them in my back pocket the whole time.